Hey everybody, welcome back. This is part 7 of the Simplebot series, and in this one what we're going to do is put the food on the screen. So the last video got us to this point where the bots are moving and following the run sequence. But now we actually need something for them to eat so that they can grow and then later evolve. The food manager is where we're going to put all of that. So in this file here, and it's going to be set up very similar to the bot manager, in that we're going to have a food class, just like we have here a bot class, and then we're going to have a food manager just like here we have a bot manager. The only difference is I'm actually going to put both of these classes in the same file, and the reason for that is because the food class is actually going to be really small. So the food class is just going to have 7 members to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and create this class, and there we go. Alright, much better. Self x, y, and value. So the 3 values whenever we create a piece of food, it's going to have an xy, which is just the location, and then a value. And the value is going to be the nutritional value of that food. So when the bot eats it, how much value will it get out of that food? And this way some food will have more and some food will have less. And later on, if you want to, you can change the color of those, and you can make maybe some food show up more often and some food show up less often. But for now, everything is going to be kept pretty simple as far as what's going to show up and what's not. I'm also going to, inside here, create the shape. So I need to import my graphics library, and I'm going to call this food circle equals ff circle shape, and self dot food circle dot radius, and we'll make our food a radius of 2, and we're going to go ahead and make, let's see, okay. And if you notice, if I come over here, so far this is pretty similar. I'm also going to use the same color class here, which I need to pull from the graphics library. Okay, so fill color equals color, and let's go ahead and make it, I don't know, kind of like a greenish blue color, which is exactly what all food looks like, is a greenish blue, very natural. And we need this here. Okay, so here are our 7 members, 7 attributes for food. We've just got 3 of them that are related to the location, and of course the nutritional value, and then these 4 are just going to be for drawing it, and that's about it. So let's go ahead and work on the food manager. Now I'm not going to do any testing on this until the very end, so a lot of this is going to get built and you're just going to have to follow along, and then at the end I'm going to test it in the Simplebot main. But later on we're going to move it all to a different file that's going to combine the bot manager and the food manager together, and we'll get to that in the next video. But for now, let's just go ahead and create the food manager, and just like over here in the bot manager, we're going to take in the window which we created, and I'm actually going to move this up here just to keep it the same in both. And we're going to also have a list of the food, just like the list of the bots, and this is going to have a few different variables though. Update time, so this member is going to be the time between when we put a new food on the screen. So right now I'm limiting it to 1 second, so every second a new piece of food is put on the screen. Previous time, and we're going to use this value in order to keep track if we pass the time or not. So this gives me the current time, this is my previous time, and it'll be pretty easy to follow that. The only thing here is I don't have the time library yet, so let me come up here and import time. Alright, good. So Food Manager is now set up. The first thing I want to do is be able to add food. And number 1 and value is 100. So I'm going to give it some default values. So if I call this method with no parameters, it's going to give me a default of 1 food added, and it's going to give that food a default value of 100 nutritional points or whatever you want to call them. And let's see, range 0 to num, and we'll just do self.food.append, and then we're going to go ahead and use our brand new food class up here, and we're going to give it some random values on the screen. So what I need to do is I need to import my random int function. And I'm going to do one other thing. You're going to notice actually that the bot manager and the food manager have almost identical methods. And there's a reason for that. I like consistency. I like things to be familiar as you're switching through them. But I made this add food, and this over here is add, well, not bots. So I'm going to put add bot here. I'm going to put add bots. And then I'm going to come back into my main file, and I'm going to change this to add bots. So that's just me kind of being a little OCD with stuff and making sure things look similar. Alright, so now let's create our food. So we're going to need 3 values to pass in here, and we already have 1 value here. The other 2 values are going to be random, and they're going to be just the same as the screen. So at the moment, I just put in the hard-coded values to go 0 to 500. The better way to do that is just to use the window I've already put in. And there we go. And the very last thing I need is the value. Okay, so we've got everything in. Adding food should be no problem. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and run this, make sure there's no errors in my syntax. So far, I always will make some syntax errors, it seems. Okay, next part, we're going to once again copy the bot manager. We have add bots, update bots, draw bots, and we're going to be doing those 3 methods. So add, update, and draw. Now update food is going to be a little bit different though than update the bots, because we're going to be checking the time. So if the previous time if the difference between the current time and the previous time is greater than our update time, then we want to go ahead and add some new food. So I'm going to use self add. That just comes up here. Oh, so sorry, self add food. And that'll just add 1 food with a default value of 100. Now I don't want it to have a default value of 100, so I need to set value equal to random int. And what I want to do is I want to set it 50 to 400. Okay. Then I need to reset my previous time to be the current time. Okay, and that should be good. Now, if you're not familiar with these default values in functions, go check it out. It's actually pretty handy. They're pretty useful to be able to do this type of stuff. Then define draw food. And the draw food is pretty easy. For food in self.food. Then we just window.draw food.food circle. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got so far. We have a food class which keeps track of pretty much all of the things that the food will need as far as being able to draw to the screen and to be able to know how much nutrition it has. Then down here we've got our add method. So our add food method, which just appends it to the list here. We have update food, which is going to give us our new time and everything in order to draw another food to the screen. We're not really drawing it here, we're just adding it to the list. And then under here, the draw food, it just loops through and draws all the circles. So nothing special. If I run this, you'll see I have no syntax errors. So let's go ahead and test this out and put some food on the screen. So I'm going to come back to main, and I'm going to say from food manager, import food manager. Alright, cool. And we'll come down here, and we can really just, let me do it separate line here. So food manager. Okay, did I do that right? Yep. Nope. Import food manager. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Food manager window, and then food manager dot add food, and let's go ahead and give it, I don't know, 50 to start or something like that. And we'll still have to do the same thing down here that we do with the bots. We're gonna have food manager dot update. Okay, so did I call it? Yep, update food. Good. Made sure I call it update food. Otherwise my OCD would kick in and I'd have to change it. And then we'll draw our food here. Alright, and now we're ready. So let's go ahead and run this. And you can see that all of the food is on the screen. Well, we're going to get some new food popping up, a new food item every second. So, one popped up there. If you just keep an eye on one section of the screen, eventually you'll see a piece of food bing, pop in just like that. Okay, and of course nothing's eating it yet, nothing's happening with the food at all, but we don't really care, we just wanted to put the food on the screen. Alright, good. So that was about it for putting the food on. In the next video, we're actually going to combine the food in the bot manager so that the bots can eat the food. Okay, so if you have any questions about what I did in this video, just leave them in the YouTube comments or on the LeftPeel website, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you next video. Close that.